11. What mentors do. Mentors give a practical sense of professionalism. They teach you tacit wisdom by coaching you through decisions. Cooking, carpentry, science, leadership is like the story of a Chinese wheelwright. Once a Chinese wheelwright, wait, it's better than, there we go. That's not right. Okay. Once a Chinese wheelwright, the guy who makes wheels, right? He's like a wheelsmith, like a blacksmith, but he makes wheels. Wheelwright. Once a Chinese wheelwright enraged his duke by discounting dead men's words. The wheelwright was forced to explain himself or be killed by his duke, the guy who's in charge of his life or death. Obviously, he has a right to put him to death. The wheelwright was forced to explain himself or be killed. So he described experiential wisdom as it related to his profession. And we assume he lived. So that's what saved his life. Experiential wisdom. So he enraged the duke by discounting dead men's words. People are dead. Who cares what they said? His duke was like, oh, how dare you reject tradition? And then he expressed himself like, well, he described experiential wisdom like, well, you get wisdom through experience, not through dead men. And we assume this saved his life. So practical knowledge described in bodily metaphors differs from book knowledge. Practical knowledge rewires the subconscious to inhibit thought at the neural level. Extra and extraordinary mentors take it to another level. The one-eyed boy with a broken family who liked ants, he found his mentor at Harvard. This guy loved collecting bugs so much, it almost got him killed by a crocodile. His proof of character was that while recovering in a cast, he still collected bugs. Teachers impart the difficulties, traditions, and love for a profession. Good mentors relentlessly demand promoting intensity and sacrifice, not happiness. Morality is impossible without hierarchical art, science, political pleasure systems. By defining excellence, mentors teach humble submission to stubborn biases. Respecting authority, one is led away from self into the realities of labor. Mentors help one recognize and rectify mistakes, encouraging the revision process. The order of a possible sinless, victimless, middle-class paradise, that's uninspiring. The order of a possible sinless, victimless, middle-class paradise, it's uninspiring. Humans require difficulty, struggle. We inherently form ideals and then create meaning by marrying them with pain. Eventually, you must cut proteges and children off, never to be close with them again. Life will always be big and baffling. Everyone dies alone. Everyone. Life will always be big and baffling. Everyone dies alone, is what I'm saying. My name is David Brooks, and I am telling you that everyone dies alone. That is what I suppose that is what I have to say. Imagine the choice of becoming a vampire was strength, glamour, ability, immortality. If this choice was irreversible, would you do it? This is an example of a transformative choice which changes you, which changes who you are. Marriage, kids, emigration, and affiliations are all vampire choices. These choices don't involve reason because there's no data on your future self. The lingering shadows of choice cause infinite renunciation and a lifetime of regret. Divorce, career changes, and failures to increase shareholder value are for screw-ups. It's a mistake to sink when you're standing. It's a mistake to sink where you're standing and let circumstance influence decisions. A German theologian, as well as 2 psychologists, doubt the existence of free will. So how does one make big decisions? Some rely on feelings, others trial and error, but feelings and intuition are not good enough. Recently, I wanted a job, but after being rejected, I rationalized I didn't want it anymore. Science and personal experience shows me that intuition can be a sad mistake. Intuition is just pattern recognition, which for vampire choices means guessing. Our culture dictates that we should make decisions based on the scientific method. This includes preparation, investigation, evaluation, confrontation, selection. Another useful framework is the 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years rule, or viewing enough houses to be certain to have covered the market. Reason is meant to counteract personal biases, like creating false dichotomies. Ultimate moral purpose and meaning can neither be decided intuitively nor rationally. The meaning of life still being lived is a matter of ultimate horizon, and so defies logic. Career advice gurus advise to identify strengths and talents, but vocation requires capturing depths of being because knowledge is plentiful. Your emotional commitment translates to your work. Daemon is a Greek for obsessive interest born of childhood trauma, love, or longing. Some kids are delicate and others take abuse better, but peak power requires trauma. A reactive, disrespectful child eventually committed suicide, but achieved social success. The artistic renaissance was driven by a clash of values. Individually, socially, obsession instigated by developmental trauma is a nuclear force. Reactions to childhood trauma exist within the unconscious, or the Big Shaggy. 99.9996 of all information is processed within this Big Shaggy. What one says and thinks differs from what one feels within the Big Shaggy. Kids lose their access to the Big Shaggy by overthinking, like my love for movies. Moral transactions are more binding than economic, which hide the Big Shaggy. Bland bourgeois life blankets big shagginess with dead thought and cliched emotion. Love exists within the vulnerability between the extremes of heaven and hell. Trauma and its subsequent rationalization just happens as we settle for false narratives. Analytic, economic, prudent, professional, comfortable activities cover the heart and soul. There was once a child prodigy, pushed so hard he became deeply depressed by 20. But then he read some poetry and decided to improve the social condition of mankind. The boy discovered an infinite desire to religiously cultivate the feelings of others. I once ate dinner with a contracted military propagandist who described weapons. That's the end of that story. That's pretty much it. Once there was a thick girl who inspired by thick dancer. Once there was a thick girl who was inspired by thick dancers to dance. I know another woman who hates humans because one of us killed her mom. So she changed careers and became a chef. Social problems originate on Indian reservations, not in office buildings. I don't care about campaign finance reform, like my friend who's made it his career. Child. Looking for a calling means searching for mistakes and failures of humanity. Commitment eclipses love. Some hold out, but most realize they're best fulfilled by becoming tools for institutions. Dogma eliminates questions of purpose. Just throw yourself among the fishhooks of society and hope to get caught. Fit into mechanic, soldier, cop, actor roles. Tolerate rejection. Face your fear. A son of a government official in Ghana became a headmaster after his father died. He pilgrimaged to the American Empire, thriving within its exclusive power structures. He then returned to Africa with the capital to influence thousands over decades. This man feels obliged to educate others. He's ignored 99% of his obligations because the world is full of problems. Instead of unifying responsibility, he ranks them. This man believes that those born with privilege deserve leadership roles in society. One should be molded by their environment, he continues. They should be obsessive with their aims. Reacting to his position, placement, passions, he plans to educate continental Africa. He envisions 25 supranational institutions influencing 3 million people over 50 years. This feeder system of young profiteers will cost $5 billion to spread his values. So far, he's maintained an exclusive 3% admittance rate. This is an epic example of someone who's projecting their biases. Vocation's the vampire choice of personal enrichment. Feeding offers the suffering of others. Okay. We're done for today. We're gonna try day 2 tomorrow. Monkey shoulder. A little bit done.